Alright, hi YouTube again. So, on Sunday, this was the Sunday after I had beaten that master, I played in a quick tournament because I wanted to practice for my upcoming Clone Wars tournament. There were a lot of hostile NPCs at this quick chess tournament. Meaning like very weird chess players that I was not interested in talking to. But Brian Wall was there, and I have Brian Wall stories and pictures. So, hold on. It's like a mini vlog almost. Maybe I'll put the picture up on the screen or something. Where picture? Ah, yes. So this was Brian Wall's breakfast. He got like 6 plates of food and a milkshake and some French toast for dessert. And he was wearing this outfit. He was wearing a neon yellow shirt and matching neon yellow shorts. And he said he was calling himself a gay mango outfit. That was his gay mango outfit. Which I don't even get, because what about that looks mango? It's like a lime. But anyway. Yeah, I sat down to talk to Brian in his booth. And then one of the hostile NPCs, like, apparently had been sitting there with Brian, and I didn't know it. He sat back down, and he, like, cornered me in the booth, and he was like, "Oh, you're gonna have to sit next to me, Sarah." He said some weird things to me. Anyway, round 1, I played an old man who used to beat me a lot when I was small and has said very strange things to me. Like, for example, he's the one who at a chess tournament, hold on, I have props for this story. I gotta search through the hat drawer though. He's the one who, I was wearing this hat, my Shrek hat, at a chess tournament, and he came up behind me, and he stuck his finger in the ear holes, and he came up behind me to do this while I was talking to someone, and he said, "I'm plugging your hole, Sarah." 60 years old, by the way. Alright. So that's why he's also known for quotes like when I was like 14, I wore like a shirt that wasn't a t-shirt, and he was like, "Hey Sarah, you're looking good in that shirt," in like the creepiest way possible, and I never wore that shirt again. Okay, so d4, knight f6, c4, g6. I was very surprised to see this because this person is positionally bankrupt. And I didn't really know what to expect here. And he actually played the same move order that my Thursday night opponent played. So he played c5 and d6 and knight f3, so we've transposed into that game we just looked at. But then he went here, which is already, like, not a good move. The opponent I'm playing right now is, like, 1400 quick chess. He had a peak of 1700 in, like, the 80s or something. So knight d2 was a good move, but I had actually already looked at this, and I knew that h3 was the correct move here. And the point of this would be probably to take here, would be the point. But my opponent thought for a while, and then put the bishop on the worst square I think that he could possibly put it on. So I was a little confused. Also, there's this aspect of having lost to someone so many times when you're little, that when you sit down to play them, like 10 years later, you're still kind of, like, afraid. I'm not afraid anymore. That's all I'll say. So I castled, and he played queen c8. And I saw it. So I played king h2. But now, like, look at his pieces. Like, what? What? It's time to play guess the 1400 move. The worst square wouldn't be h5. Alright, sure. The worst square that doesn't hang a piece. Yes, knight a6, putting a knight on the rim. And this very well aligns with what he did. This is a ridiculous move, but it's okay. I take space in the center. And my opponent plays knight c7. So, I have options here. Yeah, I mean, the Benoni is, like, just not an opening that he should be playing. I made a, like, meta decision. I've been making a lot of, like, sort of meta-type decisions lately in my chess games, which I think there's room for those, as long as they're also based in chess. So, clearly, my opponent's plan is that he would like to play b5. I could play e5 right away, if I want to. But But I was kind of like, this is where he chose to put his pieces when I wasn't restricting him at all. What is he going to do if I take away his only counterplay? So I decided to play a4, and I was very, very unsure about a4 because it terminally weakens the b4 square. Like, he could do this, but I also was like, what is the knight doing there? And his other pieces are still quite bad. And if he does this, then I get the square. So it's like a trade-off, and I think overall my pieces are already better than his, so it's okay to do so. And I kind of learned this from Josh, like the way that he plays chess is if there are two wins, one is technically better by the computer standards or more forcing, or one that takes away every little tiny bit of counterplay that they could ever hope for. Always do that, because usually that actually leads to a result faster, because they either get frustrated and blunder, or they just resign because they have nothing to do. And I felt like this move was cutting out options for him. So basically against weaker opponents, like under 1500, I will just allow them to make as many decisions as they can, but also take away their good options, if that makes sense. So I was like looking at this game with a few masters, and they were struggling to find plans here. So if masters can't find a plan here to make this position playable, what is my opponent going to do? Okay, so immediately my opponent plays the worst move I've ever seen. He played a6, which is just shockingly bad and just misunderstanding everything happening in the position. He thinks that he can still prepare b5. He's a one-trick pony. But the a4 prevented a6, because now I just go a5. What? So if I knew that he was going to respond with a6, I would not have hesitated for a second about a4. Okay. Guess what my opponent played here? I bet you can't. He meant to put the knight there. Yeah, that would be a lot more reasonable. I still think it's horrible, but b5 anyway is a good guess. You're on the right track. He didn't just outright hang it. He prepared it. But how? How did my opponent prepare b5? b6. Hi Dennis, bye Dennis. You guys are so close with rook b8. You are so close. So close. Rook b8 is way too good. Queen b8. Yes. Queen b8. Preparing b5. Whoa. So I thought for a while, and I think I came up with a reason why he played queen b8. I think in his head he was preventing e5 because he wanted to take on d5 or something. Like he wanted to set up some sort of discovery on my knight. But that doesn't work. So I played e5 anyway. So after d takes e5, knight takes. If he goes here, I have knight takes d7 and I'm attacking his queen. So, I mean he could take here, he's attacking my queen, but knight f6 is check. I don't know, doesn't really matter what he takes with. And I'm up a piece, like he can take here, but he's losing. So anyway, then my opponent played rook d8. I don't know, I'm sure it does something. And then I made a decision, another decision here that like I think some people initially would be in disagreement with me about, but just hear me out. And also the computer like doesn't like my move at first, but if you let it get to a high enough depth, it's the best move. So what would you say my best piece is right now? Probably the knight. Don't you dare take that bishop. No, hear me out. I played knight takes d7. Now, normally, never do this. Never trade off your best piece for one of your opponent's worst ones. In this case, however, concretely, it's just good. Because, okay, the first thing you notice, what would black's best piece be? He doesn't have one. They're all bad. So if I make any trade, I'm technically going to be trading a good piece for a bad piece. Sure. But the real point of knight takes d7 is misplacing a piece. What does black take back with? It takes back with the knight. Okay. I play knight a4 and now play a move. Or not knight a4, like something like rook e1 first, yeah. I can't allow this. But yeah, play a move here. You have to make another weird move. Move one of your pieces. This is what I found enticing. Yeah, he has to move this pawn, which is just weakening everything. Like everything's gone to shit here. Like black is like -4. So I kind of decided that I liked this just based on the fact that I as an A player / expert could not find a move here. So how was my 1400 opponent going to find a move? Now my opponent took with the rook, which is like a far that's like a much worse move. Like that's like insanely like what? Why is what? What? So all his pieces are misplaced and bad. And he has many weaknesses. So now I just go knight a4. I'm threatening knight b6. You will never ever guess what my opponent did here. But I want you to try. b5 is a good guess. Yeah, I'm also threatening knight takes c5. King h8. Yes, Fringe. Fringe got it right. Rook a7. That's like the most unhinged move I've ever seen. So okay. Not only was taking the bishop just objectively the best move, but you can see my logic now too. How quickly my opponent just died, just with little to no help from me. So I just take on c5, threatening the rook, and he plays rook d6. So I play bishop f4, and then he goes rook d8. And now here I find another best move, queen b3, highlighting how terrible rook a7 is. Alright kids, guess what my opponent's final move of the game is? And it's not resigns, because that comes after this move. b5. He sadly never got to play b5. I have not seen the move yet. So my opponent wanted to get out of the pin. So you were close when you said queen a8, but that hangs a piece. So he played queen c8 and hung a piece. This is a fork. And that's where he decided to call it. He said, that's enough for me. I really like that both queen a8 and queen c8 hang a piece. But it was pretty shocking because that was the point. Like, that was my point when I played queen b3. Yeah, I plugged his holes! Okay. No, this was not the same guy. That was Brian Wall who ate 6 plates for breakfast. Go Brian Wall. We like Brian Wall. There was no post-game analysis.